Hello to all those training to become Super Saiyan. This is Revolution. So on this video what we are going to be discussing is something that happened way back in Z and how it should affect Dragon Ball Super going forward in terms of certain characters. Now this is a take it with a pinch of salt kind of video. It may or may not ever occur in the Dragon Ball Super series, but for those of you who have been watching my channel for a while now, you will know that I have been popping when 17 gets some action in Dragon Ball Super. He is my favourite character in Dragon Ball Super at the moment. That's not me saying I dislike everyone else. I have just really enjoyed Android 17's inception back into the Dragon Ball franchise. The episode where Goku goes to visit Android 17 on his Safari Island, if you can call it that, was one of my favourite episodes in the whole Dragon Ball Super franchise. And Android 17's early fights in the Tournament of Power were awesome to watch as well, but in the last few episodes we haven't really seen him that much. Sure, he's had his shine so far and basically just focusing on other characters, which is great because Master Roshi's episodes have been awesome to see as well. But we haven't seen him for a few episodes. In the episode preview for tonight's episode 108, we see that Gohan is having some trouble with the dastardly duo Frieza and Frost. Now, whilst we've been given no indication that Android 17 will play a big part in this particular episode, watching Gohan have to take on both Frieza and Frost got me wondering, will Gohan be able to cope with this duo on his own, or will he get help from somebody? And whilst that help will most likely either be Piccolo or Goku, some people in the community have even suggested Cabba might try to intervene. I started to think outside the box, and the answer I came up with was Android 17. And the reason for that is if we go way back to Dragon Ball Z, in the Cell games, it was Gohan who defeated Cell. Now, ultimately, the version of Cell that Gohan defeated was Super Perfect Cell, but the means for Cell to initially gain this Super Perfect form, or even his perfect form, he has to absorb an infinite energy android, such as Android 17 and 18, in which he does in the Cell Saga, and ultimately, this helps him gain more powerful evolutions. And in the Cell Saga, Cell succeeded in absorbing Android 17, which allowed him to acquire the semi-perfect Cell form, and then he also succeeded in absorbing Android 18, which allowed him to acquire the perfect Cell form. Now, at that time, Cell was the most powerful being until Gohan eventually unleashed his Super Saiyan 2 form, and Gohan literally beat Android 18 out of him. However, he didn't quite beat Android 17 out of Cell because Gohan hit Cell so hard that he threw up Android 18. Maybe if he hit him hard again, he would have thrown up Android 17 and beat him back into his imperfect form. But Cell at that point realized he was outclassed, and instead of trying to fight Gohan, he went to blow up the planet. He ballooned in size to basically wipe out the Saiyans, knowing that they couldn't breathe in space. But unfortunately for Cell and his plans, Goku instant transmissioned him to the King Kai's planet, and the King Kai has still not been revived since that day, even now during the Tournament of Power. Obviously, we know the story from there. Cell had one cell survive, and he managed to regenerate from that single cell from his DNA from Piccolo, and he ultimately returned as Super Perfect Cell, even more powerful before. Then he engaged in the amazing Kamehameha battle with Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, losing the fight. But as said before, Android 17 was never regurgitated, so Android 17 died with Cell. But at the end of the Cell games, the Z Warriors revived everybody that Cell had killed and anything hurt by Cell during the Cell games. So Android 17 was revived. But Gohan was the only person capable of defeating Super Perfect Cell, and therefore Android 17 has Gohan to thank for everything that's happened to him since. Now, we did see Android 17 one more time during Dragon Ball Z, and that was when Goku was fighting Kid Buu. Android 17 contributed energy to that spirit bomb. Now we know how powerful Android 17 can become. I wonder how much power he actually generated for that spirit bomb. It must have been a large proportion. That's probably a video for another day. But as we can see, 17 was a changed man. He was a park ranger, which is a far cry from how we initially saw Android 17 in the Android Saga. Initially, he was a reckless anarchist, and he was basically just a rebel without a cause. He enjoyed acting on a whim and causing panic for any other beings, and basically most of his choices in the Android saga was motivated by something he called the game, which referred to basically the quest to exterminate Goku at the time. Android 17 has clearly changed a lot since then. His rebel without a cause personality has since been tempered down by his newfound occupation, as he has channeled his somewhat anarchistic and child tendencies into handling those dastardly poachers, giving him an objective to focus on that he didn't have before. And rather than the arrogant personality we saw in the Android saga, what we now see is a man that is more humble and very casual, not showing much personal desires beyond providing for his family and protecting the wildlife. He is much more mature now, and it is that development in his character arc that leads me to believe that he would want to repay a debt. Now obviously Gohan didn't kill Cell to basically save Android 17. He probably didn't care about Android 17 at that time, but at the same time everything that Android 17's gained in his life can be largely credited to Gohan. And both of them also had a very close relationship with Android 16. And you could say Android 16's love for wildlife was what influenced him to become a wildlife preserver. So obviously in episode 108, Gohan's going to be in a pretty sticky situation. We now know Gohan has his ultimate form once again, which should be enough to beat Frost quite easily, but he would have a bit of trouble with Frieza. Now, we saw him get decimated in the ROF saga by first form Frieza, but that is a different Gohan to what we saw back then. Sure, Frieza may have got more powerful as well. In fact, we know he's more powerful in his golden state. But I believe Gohan should be able to take out final form Frieza now. But with the cunning Frost aiding Frieza, it's going to be a very tough situation for Gohan to handle, especially if Frieza unleashes his golden form on Gohan. I don't believe golden Frieza will lose to Ultimate Gohan. So whilst Piccolo may join in and help Gohan, I'm not sure Piccolo's strong enough to make that much of a difference against the likes of Frieza and Frost. But Android 17 certainly is strong enough, and he does owe Gohan a favour. Sure, this situation more than likely won't happen, but I definitely think it's an interesting topic to speculate about. Maybe it might not happen here, but it could happen further down the line. I would love to see some interaction between Gohan and Android 17. And what would be even more awesome is a fight between Android 17 and Frieza. That would be top-notch fighting. It's those kind of encounters that I believe keeps audiences tuning in week out. So this is why Android 17 owes Gohan a favour. Now, in the title of this video, I spelt favour the American way. I have dropped the U. Obviously, being British myself, I would usually put the U in favour, but as most of my audience is American, I thought I would cater to you guys. So if you're English or Welsh or Scottish and you're watching this video thinking I've spelled favour wrong, I am very aware of how to spell favour the British way, but it is also spelled differently in America. Anyway guys, this video is pretty much speculative. Take it with a pinch of salt. I love having these discussions about potential avenues Dragon Ball Super can take. It really gets my imagination working, and having these discussions with you guys makes my day just that little bit better. Now, I know some of you don't necessarily enjoy the speculative videos, you prefer more factual videos. I do those as well, but if you go back to my very first video I released 10 months before I actually started making videos regularly, my motivation for starting these was basically in the UK, I don't have that many Dragon Ball fans surrounded by me. It is big over here, but not quite as big as it is in America. So I wanted to communicate basically, and it's still that same thing that drives me to make these videos. So whilst I will make factual videos, I will mix it in with these hypothetical videos simply because this is what I enjoy talking about. On this channel guys, I do pretty much everything. I do theories, speculative videos, verse battles, calculations and feats, news, you name it, everything. I'm not narrow-minded in terms of the scope of discussions I can have with you guys. By all means guys, if you want me to do more power scaling videos or more theory videos, just let me know in the comments section. I really do care about your opinions, but don't be rude about it. To those of you that are rude, you will just be ignored, so you're wasting your own time really. This channel is growing very fast, and I must say I appreciate all your support. I'm absolutely overwhelmed by all the positive feedback I've had on my channel, and you really do have my gratitude. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, guys, make sure you subscribe because I have content coming out almost daily. If you've come here from my Dragon Ball Universe Facebook group, make sure you give me a shout out in the comment section so I know where you've come from. If you aren't in that group and you have Facebook, come and join us in the Dragon Ball Universe. And if you have Instagram and Twitter, come follow me there. So once again, thank you guys. What do you think? Do you think that Android 17 will repay Gohan anyway? Doesn't have to be on tonight's episode, could be any time in the future, or do you think he'll just carry on with his life and ignore it? That is perfectly feasible. Like I said, this is speculative, hypothetical. It's not necessarily going to happen. Take it with a pinch of salt. If you like my videos, guys, make sure you smash that like button with a big bang attack. And remember one very important final message. If you stay calm in any vexing situation, you will never, ever become a Super Saiyan. Make sure you click that subscribe button to make sure you get all my latest content straight to your account as soon as it's released. And here are some more videos from my library, which I'm sure you will all enjoy.